Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Now, this video is going to be a little different than the others, to be honest. This video has no plan, no nothing. This video is just me sitting down. I just want to talk to the camera. I have no idea where this is going. I have no idea of my main message or anything like that. But anyways, this video is just going to be me just talking straight to y'all. No script, no nothing. Just, a conversation, let's just say. However, I do want this conversation to be meaningful. And for this specific one, I want to talk about love. I know when I say love, you guys will probably think about the usual, corny stuff, but I genuinely want to talk about this. Because for one, I feel like love is the most confused, destroyed definition, if that makes sense. I feel like it's been lost. It's been lost. No, everyone tries their best to define it, but you can never really find a feeling for it. You know what I mean? You can never really find a definition for love. Now, where is this coming from? We live in a world now where, let's just say, you're taught to love the wrong things, right? We're always, pushed to love temporary things. All the things that our bodies love is very, are just strictly desires. Now, again, love is probably the most confused, destroyed, and misused word. Usually you ask people, what do they think love is, right? And they will always come up with either different definitions or the same definition, but they will always have one thing in common, that it's a feeling. Love is a feeling. Much like all the other feelings that we have, they come and go. But what is that one thing that separates true love from that type of love? Now, do we even know the answers to that? I mean, not really. I don't think we'll ever know the answer to that. One thing us humans and maybe even teenagers, maybe even this generation in itself, is that we always let love destroy us, if that makes sense. I feel like if you grow up in a day and age like today with media and with all these different, I don't even know what you want to call them, whatever the social media atmosphere that kids today are gonna grow up in, I feel like it's just gonna ruin a lot. Because I read this one thing and it said true love isn't texting someone at 2 a.m. It's your mom staying awake until you get home. So I read that and I just think to myself, like, not like why, but more like it's very extraordinary that there's a feeling like that someone is willing. Now, obviously, you could just say, oh, that's just your mom. That's your mom's job. That's this, that's that. But it's like, it's really not. She really, even if your parents do that, they really could have went to sleep. But no, they wanted to, stay up and wait for you to walk through that door and make sure, you're okay. So now this exact train of thought, just led me down into a deeper rabbit hole where it's like, where does love even come from? We always feel a certain emotion for a specific reason. I know, for example, anger could be used as an umbrella term to describe a whole lot of different things. Someone could maybe be angry because they're lonely. Someone could be angry because of their losses, their pride, anything. It's just we just call that angry. When they act out in a certain way, that's angry. And so you take love and it's like, where does love come from? Right? Where does this feeling of wanting to take care of someone or wanting someone to take care of you, where does that come from? Right? And I'm guessing you guys heard the famous Denzel Washington quote, where he says, a son's first true love is his mother. Now, as we know, there's different types of loves. As a matter of fact, the Greek language has 5 different terms for love, while the English language only has 1. Now, if I'm correct, the term agape is the highest form of love. It's the sacrificial love. Now, you think of that, and then who else has that sacrificial love, right? You could even say your parents, and you could say all that, but there is only one person who walked the earth who sacrificed himself for everybody. And this is where God ties into everything. And it might be crazy to say that Christ himself is the walking embodiment, the walking definition of love. And in order to truly love, in order to truly show someone the best love, is to walk in his footsteps, is to love your wife the same way Christ loves the church. Where does all this tie into? You know, I thought about it, right? There was a time where where we were always questioning our own beliefs, right? Our own faith, everything. And then I just asked myself, what is it that separates Christianity from all the other different religions? And after a lot of research, it kind of just hit me that it's like all the other religions, there is many things that you need to do to work your way up to God. Whether it's the 5 pillars of Islam, whether it's the caste system, or whether it's like you have to reach a certain point of understanding, and these are what you have to do in order to get to God. And then all of a sudden, researching Christianity, I come across John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, for that whoever believes in him shall not perish and have eternal life. And everyone, you know, just throws that quote around everywhere, but it's like, let's really dissect, like really deep, what that means. Now, the reason why I say, I'm thinking of the title right now, it could be changed, but it's something along the lines of God is love or Jesus is love. And why do I say that? Because this also almost proves the Trinity. It almost kind of gives evidence for a Trinity. If God has an eternal love, then who would he share that love with? You know what I mean? Who would he have had to share that love with if this so-called love is eternal? And there's only one other thing that's eternal, and God is eternal, right? Then I don't know. This isn't a put together argument. You know what I mean? Atheists, you can go have a field day with me in the comments. But I don't know. I'm just kind of, you know, piecing 1 and 2 together. It's like, it's almost like the Father had to have loved Jesus. Jesus had to have loved the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit had to have loved the Father. And it just keeps going around. It almost just keeps going around. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. That's his only son. That was his only son, who he himself, out of his own will, put on that cross to die for us. Now, is it crazy to say that God is so evil that he would put his only innocent son to die for the sins of the filthy? Who would do that, right? Who would do that? And then I started asking myself, it's like, can we even attain that type of chance again? A chance to have someone like that? Right? Because I asked myself, I'm like, those people living at that time, those people had the closest, like they had true love, like true love. I'm not talking about no, like true love. They had it right there. Like they had him. They looked at him. They touched, like, you know what I mean? He was there. Love was right there. The love of this person that like he didn't go and ask, you know, people of status or people of money or wealth to be his followers, but instead he went to go get a tax collector. Tax collectors were seen as almost traitors to the Jewish people. But however, we have a gospel written by one. It's not that God will choose qualified people. God will qualify the people he chooses. It's another way of saying that God will not give you the people you want, but he'll give you the people you need. With all these people having true love in their sight, having true love like in front of them, but all they did was call him a blasphemer. They stoned him, they whipped him, made him carry that cross, and on top of all of that, nailed him to it. It's almost like we won't ever get to see that again, which is why I say the only way we can experience that type of true love, that type of unison, would be through the Lord. A lot of people who I sort of help get through their spiritual journeys, and again, I'm struggling myself, you know, but I tell them, I'm like, you know, why won't you pray, right? Like, why don't you pray? You know, you tell me all these issues that you have, but have you even talked to the Lord about it? And then they'll tell me, they'll say like, I don't know, I'm almost like scared. I'm almost like ashamed. There used to be a point where I would ask why, but then it just hit me. It's like, these people are ashamed of going to the one person who knows everything about them, every side, knows them in their truest form. And that is the person that these people choose to run away from. That's almost the only person that you can experience that type of true love with. For all my people who are in relationships, it's almost like if you're in a strong relationship, you had to have seen the bad sides of each other, right? You had to have seen those bad sides of each other and still choose to love, still choose to care, still choose to, forgive and move on. To say that you should be ashamed of going to the Lord to pray about your struggles is almost like you're almost shooting yourself in the foot, because he is the only person who can give you that type of love. You know what I mean? You won't find that from your parents, because you probably lie to your parents. You can't lie to God though. You can't. But you probably do to your parents, and you probably do to the person you say I love you most, right? But God won't, he doesn't, he knows that. He knows everything. He knows everything. That's what I'm saying. You could have the best relationship you could possibly have with him, with that person who knows you the most, who created you. Now, again, this is not even scripted. I'm completely just saying this as I go. To even like move on, our only way of truly giving someone that type of Christ-like love is to, again, follow in his footsteps. Love your wife, love your girl the same way Christ loves the church. Is that to say that they shouldn't have to love you that way? No. One of the things I always explain to people is like, think of a triangle, right? And you have God at the top, and you have you and your partner at the bottom. Now, in order for you two to be truly united, you'd have to go with God to do that. You'd have to grow a relationship with God, both of you guys, individually and together. You'd have to grow a relationship with God. So that's you guys moving up the triangle, getting to that topmost point. However, if one decides to, if one is just chasing the other, they will never be able to, unite. I think that's enough of just that epiphany I got. Now, forgiveness. Forgiveness shows love, at least from a Christian viewpoint. We're always taught that forgiveness isn't just, forgetting, let go and let live, forget about it. No, that's not the forgiveness we're taught. The forgiveness that we are taught is that all the evil, all the hatred, all the grudges, all the insert your word, like all those feelings for you are gone. You know what I mean? Like you have that one person who, probably backstabbed you that certain way, I don't know, betrayed you, and you looked at them and, you said you forgave them, but truly deep down, you hope something happens to them. You hope they get what's coming for them, and you hope, you get those feelings. However, forgiving is removing all that. Forgiving is removing all that. Maybe not forgetting. Don't forget. Forgive, but don't forget. Forgive, but don't forget. Even with that same person, forgive them. Forgive them. But don't forget it. Maybe the first time it was a mistake, but if it gets repeated a second time, that's a whole choice. You know what I mean? Just pray. People don't understand the power of prayer. And simple as that. Prayer is communication. You know what I mean? There used to be a point where I'm gonna say myself, I would complicate my prayers a lot. I would do certain routines, I have to do the sign of the cross like this. I have to bow down this many times. All these different things to make my prayer, I guess, more heard. It's just communication. Praying is just communicating with God. So why complicate it? Why turn it into a ritual almost? You know what I mean? Pray together. All you guys pray together. Pray with your, significant other. Ask God to give you guys those strengths to get through those bad days and to have the power to forgive each other and keep loving the same way Christ would love the church. And now my favorite, probably best, the verse that just speaks love to me is Corinthians 13. Corinthians 13, and they are verses 4 all the way to 7. And it says, love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. You read that verse, and what I'm getting is love is like the strongest superpower. However, mistreated, it can be our downfall. Everyone's going to go through that one, I'll say heartbreak. As corny as it sounds, everyone will go through that one heartbreak. But I remember there's this one thing Bob Marley said. It said, everyone who you're going to love, everyone you know is going to hurt you. It's just you got to find the ones who are worth hurting for. The ones that are worth hurting for are the ones you keep close. It all just pieces together. You know, if we know Jesus as the truth, I am the way, the truth, and the life, then he has to be love. Jesus and God has to be love. So my message to everyone who's watching this is be careful. First and foremost, please be careful on who you share your love with. Now, I say that, and you're going to come across a time where you misuse that love. You love the wrong person, or you love the wrong thing, let's just say. Once you persevere through that, and once you get through all that, you will know better to love yourself and to love others. And this is a message for you, read it, for you. You know who I'm talking to. The one who lost the love, got mistreated, and starts taking that out on other people. Sounds familiar? All I'm saying is love didn't hurt you. Someone who didn't know how to love hurt you. So don't ruin your love because someone who didn't know how to love hurt you. You get what I'm saying? Protect your love. Protect it. Keep it to yourself. Use it on the right people. And most importantly, use it with the Lord. He loves you like no one else does. Okay? If you keep doubting if the Lord loves you, then you're sitting here watching this video. There's your answer. If you guys enjoy these type of videos, please let me know. It seems very fun to do that. I don't have to sit down script. I just got to sit down and talk. Make sure you guys tune into my podcast. Got some new episodes coming out. And make sure you guys check out my old videos. And yeah, may God be with you all.